Now let's talk about interviewing the subject matter experts. We did touch upon this topic in the last session, but now let's go ahead and discuss in more detail. So, how to interview subject matter experts? Let's look at the slides. So, in this presentation, I am going to cover these points: preparing for the interview, building trust and rapport, questioning techniques used while questioning subject matter experts, how to listen, what are the things to do during the interview and after the interview. Let's go ahead. First of all, get this idea very clear in your mind that your subject matter expert is not your personal trainer. He will not be available as and when you want him or her to be available. He is not going to be around to tell you that now click here, now click there, now put this mouse away, now enter this value, and so on. That's not going to happen. Obviously, a subject matter expert is going to be a busy person. He would probably be working on a number of other tasks when you are going to get in touch with him or her. So you'll have to respect that. Don't expect the subject matter expert to come to you and give you as much time as you want. The SME is going to give you time depending on what other things are to be done, and the SME may have a packed schedule. In fact, in many cases, I would recommend that you communicate the dates earlier in advance. You should be able to tell them that this is what I need. On this day, I would like to have this demo, or I'll be available, and so on. You should communicate in advance that this is a day I'll be giving the first draft, and maybe it has to be reviewed for the technical accuracy and so on. So SME is a very expensive resource for a company, and you'll have to use it very, very wisely. Let's look at the slide. SME will give you just enough time that you'll need, or maybe less. Your homework and preparation is extremely important. From SME's point of view, you will be a user or a student. So always behave like a student when you are in front of the SME. Don't ever try to show your smartness saying that, oh, I know this, I know that, and so on. I am not saying that you should not tell if you know something, or all that I am saying is you should not show off that you know all these things, right? Let's go to the next slide. Preparing for the interview with the subject matter expert. So let's focus on the slide. Make a list of what you have, make a list of what you want from the SME, identify the SME, find out more information about your SME. What does he or she do? What is the designation? What qualification? What amount of experience? What other projects has the SME worked on? Contact the SME and explain the reason why you want to meet the SME and what is that you want to do during the meeting. Schedule the convenient time for the meeting and schedule your meeting at the earliest possible. Now, while scheduling meeting, you may want to give a couple of options. So you can say that, sir, can you give me a time available? Maybe you can suggest me at what time you are available, or then I could be available on Monday anytime between 2 to 6, on Tuesday anytime between 10 to 5, and on Wednesday maybe from 10 to 2. So you pick whatever is convenient to you and I'll be there, right? When you show up in front of the SME, show up on time, maybe 5 minutes ahead of time. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Getting ready for the interview. Let's look at the slide. Define the meeting objectives. What is that you want to achieve during the meeting? Study the subject yourself before the meeting. Prepare a list of questions. Ensure availability of the hardware or software, and carry on the available information to show it to the SME. So first and foremost, homework is extremely important for a technical writer. Now by homework, I don't mean the work to be done at home. By homework, what I mean is your preparation. So don't go to the SME, sit in front of him and tell him that, all right, I am here to learn about so and so system, so tell me everything about it. SMEs hate people who come to them with a total, I would say, lack of concern of the subject. So while going there, you should at least know something. Go to the website, download the data sheet, download white papers, if any. Talk to a few people, maybe read the existing manual, the existing help file, take a look at the application, or Do whatever you can. Talk to the SME, find out information about the SME, find out what are the likes and dislikes of the SME. Do your homework when you go over there. So when you go over there, your typical interaction is going to be, sir, I am here to discuss so and so banking application. I request your help, and if you could kindly guide me, I am supposed to write a user guide and online help for this application. I already know that this is a banking system. It has about 22 modules. It will be implemented in major banks, and everybody in the bank will be able to work through this computer. More than that, I look forward to your guidance. This could be a good introduction instead of just going there and sitting, okay, tell me about the banking application, tell me everything that you know. It's not practical that that person will tell you everything that he or she knows in the available time. So your preparation is very important. If you already collected some data, go there with that data, share it with the subject matter expert. I had downloaded this presentation. Is this still accurate? I had downloaded this data sheet. Do you think it is still valid? I had downloaded this information about the competitor's product. Do you think it is relevant? Let the SME opine on that. I have met a number of subject matter experts who have appreciated the fact that when I went to meet them, I was actually prepared. When my company gets an inquiry, we try to find out about that company, we go to their website, we try to look for the name of the product and so on, or then whatever products they have. So when we go there, we know this company is in so and so business, developing or marketing so and so products or offering so and so services. They have so many offices all over India or all over the world and so on. This is nice to know information because it sets your level. It makes you capable of understanding what the SME is going to deliver to you. Prepare a list of questions, but don't push it early. You should prepare your list of questions, but then you should pay attention to what the SME is saying, what the subject matter expert wants to share. If you push your list of questions earlier on, the SME may simply answer those questions and may announce that the meeting is over. So don't do that. Go there, listen to the subject matter expert. Through this discussion, if any of your questions is not answered, then you should say that, sir, I had come with a list of questions. I think out of 11 questions, 7 have been answered. It would be great if you could answer the remaining 4. Or whom do you think I should contact for getting answers for the remaining 4? And so on. It's quite likely that a subject matter may not know a particular product end to end because of the sheer size of products being developed today. There could be multiple SMEs. So this SME may tell you that, okay, this particular question could be better answered by Sachin or could be better answered by Radha, whatever be the case. But make sure that you go there, you have done your homework. Ensure availability of the hardware and software. Let's say you are going to take a demo through internet, make sure that you have got internet connection, or the place wherever you are going, you have got internet connection. If you are going to do a video recording of the SME's briefing, make sure you have the handycam, you have the required number of cassettes, you have the batteries charged, you may need an extension board. So be proactive about all this. If you are going to do a voice recording, make sure you have the recorder with enough space in it. Or if you are doing it on a cassette, make sure you are taking enough number of cassettes with you. Make sure you have got a couple of extra pair of batteries to be replaced if required, and so on. Take all this information and go there. Let's move ahead. Be punctual when you are going to attend a meeting. Going late is like showing disrespect for somebody else's time. It could be a good idea to confirm the meeting when you are about to leave, or at least same day morning. So it's not a bad idea to give a call to SME saying that, Gopal, I have a meeting with you today afternoon at 3 o'clock. I just wanted to reconfirm that I will be there at 3 with so and so things. Do you want me to carry anything else? Or do you think I should do something before I come over there? Maybe go to a website, download some document, read through it. If you want me to do something like that, please let me know. By the way, I am planning to do audio recording of our entire conversation, and do I need to take any legal permissions for that? Or I am going to do a video recording, do I need to get a security clearance for getting the camera inside? These questions can be asked. Meeting time should be confirmed. Before starting the meeting, engage in a simple conversation. Don't go ahead and start with the system or the system description directly. Spend about a couple of minutes talking about the scope of work that you have to do, or why you are working on this particular assignment, how thankful you are that Gopal has shared time for you, and so on. During the conversation, be patient. Give the relationship some time to develop. Remember, you are not talking to SME for one interview only. You will be required to go back to the person, talk to him or her a number of times again. You may even go back to the SME for doing a technical review. So you are going to need a lot of support and understanding from this person. It's obvious that the person is going to need the same from your side. So there could be times like changing the meeting time, winding up the meeting early because of some urgent priorities and so on. Be open to changes and show that you are cooperating. Work with the SME towards reaching the goal. When the SME is talking to you, SME is obviously sharing a lot of information. And while you are doing that, if you have already come with a list of queries, make sure that you tick all those questions which are answered, so that you don't end up asking redundant questions, because that makes a very bad impression on the subject matter expert. Let's go ahead to the next slide. So, building the trust and rapport, maintain an open posture and a pleasant smile on your face. Keep your voice calm. Maintain a good eye contact. Don't try to look here and there when the SME is talking to you. That shows A, lack of confidence, B, may even be arrogance. So make sure that there is a constant eye contact. Make sure that your voice is submissive, calm, and totally under control. You are interviewing somebody. You'll have to develop the interview. You'll have to bring out the geniusness in that person. You'll have to bring out the subject matter domain knowledge on the table. For that, you should be asking questions, and we are going to talk about the techniques for asking questions. So your voice, your perseverance is utmost important in this particular exercise. Make the SME feel important. So instead of saying that I want you to review the first draft, your sentence should be, I'd appreciate if you could review the first draft within a couple of days after I send it. Or I would like to let you know that by 15th of April, I'll be giving you first 5 chapters. And if you could quickly review them, or then maybe guide me as to who else can review them, that will be really great and highly appreciated. So don't demand, ask, seek help. You can tell the SME that I'm going to need these many days or these many hours at so and so point of time. And if I don't get them, then the subsequent deliverables may get delayed. For example, you can tell the SME that first draft will be on 15th of April, second draft could be on 3rd of May. And if I get the feedback by 7th of May, I'll be able to give you the completed document by 15th of May. However, if I don't get the reviewed content back within a reasonable time limit, my final output may actually get delayed. Ask the SME if the plan or the milestones that you have identified are sounding practical. Never tell them that these are the milestones that you are demanding. You should always give them a feeling that these are the milestones that I have planned. Are you okay with it? Do you think you'll be able to spare time for this particular activity, or you'll be able to depute somebody else to work on the document review? Let's go ahead. Now here are the questioning techniques mentioned. So let's focus our attention on the slide. Repetition, clarification, elaboration and probing, open-ended questions which are descriptive, which will have descriptive answers, close-ended questions, maybe yes/no type answers. What is repetition? The SME tells you that okay, we are talking about a client-server application which has 3 layers. You have got the logic layer, business layer, and then there is a client. So there is a server having the working on the logic part of it, there is a server working on the data part of it, and then you have got a client machine which is accessing information on both those servers. So you should repeat, maybe you should write it down, and at the end of the session you should repeat that for the subject matter expert. The subject matter expert knows that you are repeating whatever he or she has said, so knows that okay, you have understood. At the same time, you are sure that since you are repeating it and he is approving, that means whatever you said is correct. That means your understanding is correct. Clarification. So you could ask questions like, I think that there is no client side installation. Is that correct? Or you can say that, what happens if there are 200 users who log in at the same time? So these are the clarification type of questions. Elaboration. So you would say that, what happens when a user logs in? Could you explain to me in terms of the technical details, what is the process that happens? Or what happens when I try to generate a report? What happens when I try to run a query? What is that exactly happens on that computer? So these questions could be very helpful. Open-ended questions. So I mean, most of the things that we talked about right now are open-ended questions, where you say, what happens if I do this? What happens if the user has this problem? You may also have close-ended questions, that when I delete the file, it will ask for confirmation. Is that correct? Yes or no? So this is a close-ended questions. So you should ask a right kind of mix of all questions. Asking too many close-ended questions may give that person a very awkward feeling. Asking too many descriptive questions may again push that person to talk too much. So maintain the right kind of combination of open and close-ended questions. Let's go ahead. Let's now talk about listening. So let's focus our attention on the slide. Allow the SME to finish expressing. Don't stick to your own opinions while listening. Respect the SME's opinions. Let the SME know that you are paying attention using simple gestures. Focus on what the SME is saying and understand the SME's perspective. Be at ease. It helps learning. I have seen a lot of technical writers, when they are talking to a subject matter expert, they become very cautious and they become absolutely uncomfortable, even at times stiff. So stiff that they don't even move their neck. If I am having a conversation with somebody, my neck will automatically start moving. My hands will start moving and giving the right kind of signals, so that the other person knows that I am listening to what he or she is saying. Right? It's very important that you be attentive to what is being said. You should not push your own opinions. Let the SME express. You can ask your own questions. If the SME is talking about something, don't interrupt with a question. Make sure you write it down in your diary or in your planner, maybe your notebook, and then ask that question at a logical point, or when the SME has finished describing that point, you can ask your question. So do not interrupt the flow. Respect the SME's perspective, because he or she has probably worked with the application much more than what you have. So for some reason he has some opinions, and those could be important. Maybe he can tell you about the last 2 versions of the product, what features have been built in, what were required, what problems were faced, and so on. So each of those things may not come down in the document that you are going to produce. However, it's essential that you understand all that, and it could be useful from the overall understanding perspective. Let's go to the next slide. During the interview, ask permission for recording if you are doing any recording, sound, video, whatever. Take notes of the key points. Keep on writing. Even in front of, while you are sitting in front of the person, you can keep on writing. If you are sitting in a room where there is a whiteboard, you can even use that board to draw a diagram and say that this is the way I understand the architecture of the system. Is this diagram correct? I had a unique experience when I was talking to a SME who was explaining me a telecom product, and he was explaining to me the block diagram of the system. After his explanation was over, I tried to draw that block diagram on the board, and he liked that diagram so much that he actually noted it down in his notebook, saying that, Makran, I am going to use this is quite useful. So do things like that. You are creatively exploring the possibilities of sharing information with the users. Focus the meeting on the information that you require, rather than let the meeting get drifted to something else. Ask the right kind of questions. Control the interview without interfering. Ask the SME for the contact details. So it's quite natural to ask for an email ID and a phone number and say, will it be alright if I call you sometime between 4 and 5 p.m. tomorrow if I have some clarifications? Can I send you a mail on so and so mail ID? Would that be okay? Right? So get all these things confirmed. At times you may even want to notice or note down the personal mail ID. For example, if you are going to send a big attachment and the corporate account may not be able to receive it, check with the SME before sending the mail. Do you think I should send this mail with a big attachment to your personal ID? Would that be appropriate? If yes, take that ID as well. Let's go ahead. So these are the points. I mean, this is continuation of the previous slide. Let's focus on the slide. Be prepared to spend double the time of what the SME has agreed upon. Do not make unauthorized promises about delivering or information sharing. Let the SME know that you value his or her time. Thank the SME for sparing time for you. End the meeting with a clear understanding of what is going to happen next and who is going to do that. Schedule another meeting if required. So be prepared to spend more time. Never have another meeting scheduled cut to cut or immediately touching next to this meeting. So if this meeting is going to be 3 to 4, don't schedule anything else till 5 o'clock. At times I have seen the SMEs getting involved in the discussion so much that they go ahead and explain to you a few other things which neither you knew, neither they know they would end up explaining. But they think it is important. And I always try to respect the SME's time, because SME is one commodity which is exceptionally difficult to get hold of. As I have told you, SME is not your personal trainer. So if you are available tomorrow for the entire day, that doesn't mean the SME is available as well. So if the SME, my SME is willing to spend some more time with me, I am there to listen to him. Absolutely. Well, after the interview, very important, send a simple thank you mail. Thank the SME for the information sharing session that has happened. Share your notes. Ask the SME if whatever you have noted down is correct. If you have drawn any diagrams, maybe share that as well. Go through the notes and find out if there are any gaps. During the interview you may not realize it, or you could be running short of time, or the SME could be running short of time. So you can say that I have written down all this and there are a couple of questions. If you could answer those, I will really appreciate that. Do the required further research, and if required, schedule another interview. Along with this session, TechnoRights has especially created for you a questionnaire which you should study. This questionnaire will tell you a lot about what questions to ask during a meeting, what are the typical answers, and what can you expect in a meeting to happen. We have one more session where we are going to talk about the different meetings that a typical technical writer is required to attend, like information collection, project planning, and so on. So you can use this questionnaire as a template during your SME's interview. Needless to say that you'll need to add a few questions on your own. So make sure that you have read the questionnaire. If you have any questions about the questionnaire or about the session, feel free to write to me. Next, we are going to discuss brainstorming, and followed by that, concept maps.